I'm sure you got some bad habits, maybe even toxic habits. And let me give you some examples. Maybe they're more benign because, not everything, when you think of toxic habits, you don't necessarily think of some of the things I'm going to say. You think, oh, yeah, well, you're thinking toxic habits like, cussing and, smoking or whatever. But here's some toxic habits. Letting the past dictate your present and your future. That is a toxic habit. Because you're thinking of like things you do, like binge watching something inappropriate on Netflix, too much violence, too much gore. No. I want to help you to be successful in your everyday life. And most of the things that the world would consider bad habits, you're not doing those things. And if you are doing those things, then we have deliverance rooms on Friday nights. Praise God. You got to sign up for it, though. Please, Pastor Pilar is saying, please remind them they have to sign up for deliverance rooms. They can't just show up. Okay. Expecting the worst to happen. That's a toxic habit. Expecting the worst to happen. Have you ever been in a season? I'm in one of those seasons now, and I have to be very careful because if I'm not mindful of the goodness of God and His protection and His provision, what happens is I start waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that's called living in paranoia. That's not living by faith. And it's a toxic habit. When you go through a streak, a season of warfare, a season of trials, you get conditioned to think what bad else is going to happen to me next, right? That's a toxic habit. And there's some people, they're very negative. They're very pessimistic. That's a toxic habit. It didn't start out that way. They became that way. Talking about mutual friends when they're not around. It's a toxic habit. Not following through on what you say is a toxic habit. Self-sabotage. Ooh, that's a big one. I used to do that. I used to sabotage myself. It was a habit. It was just like a cycle, right? Or staying up late for no particular reason. During COVID, I got a few of you on that one. During COVID, they came up with a new phenomenon. It's called bedtime revenge. Have you heard of it? During COVID, because people didn't have control over anything else, right? I mean, you had to stay in your house. So people just would not go to bed. They would just stay up half the night, right? Toxic habit. Now they've gone back to work and now they can't go to bed on time, right? It's a toxic habit. These are toxic habits. Maybe you're thinking of a few things that you do. How about this one? Comparing yourself to others. That's a toxic habit. Or how about this one? Giving unsolicited advice. Nobody asked for your opinion. Nobody asked you what you think, right? Or holding grudges. Holding grudges. I had an aunt, and my grandparents, they were part of a small town called Winter Garden. It was a very small town growing up. Everybody in the whole town knew that Era held a grudge. And so if you ever crossed her, that was it. You were never going to get back in her grave. She'd take it to the grave, and she did. She did. By the time she died, she didn't talk to anybody in the whole family because she had grudges against everybody. That is a really toxic habit. That's called unforgiveness, yes? Yes, it is. So you may have thought I was going to say like drinking, smoking, whatever, not exercising. But these are behaviors that you might not recognize in your life.